Hello guys, welcome back to the second part of the Q&A. If you haven't watched the previous video, I invite you to go to watch it, because I answered the first part of the questions that you asked me on the post that I made here on YouTube. And today, in this video, I'm going to answer the other questions. Adesh Saini, what are the expensive of one track day in Italy? It depends. So, usually you pay the track to access the track. So, I'm talking about not mini bike or kart track. You go from 90 euros for 4 hours in a small track until 250 euros for one day in Mugello. Then you have the tires. It depends which kind of tire, but they cost 400 euros one set of tires. Then you have the fuel for the bike. Then you have the travel to the track. So you go, if you want to save as much money as you can, you go from 250 euros up to 500, 600, 1000, depending on which bike you have and which tires you use. DG Cabral, most difference between 300 and 1000 in making a corner. So usually with the 300 you make a round shape corner. You try to bring as much speed as possible, and then in mid corner you are already full gas and you try to exit as round as possible to maintain the speed. With the 1000, considering you cannot be flat while leaning, but you also have more horsepower, you tend to have a more V-shaped line. So you usually go wide, turn the bike, put the bike straight, and try to accelerate. Kakingwar asks, how to prevent high side crash? So you can have a high side in many ways. It depends on how you did high side. Maybe on road you touch a white line wet with the rear tire and then you lose it. So, or maybe you break the engine and you lose the rear and you do a high side. It depends. Usually the most common, which is due by a rider mistake, is when you're leaning and you accelerate too much. This makes you lose the rear and then you make a high side. So in that situation, you must always try to have the bike as straight as possible when you accelerate. For example, in this high side that I had with the motard, I accelerated too hard with the bike, leaning too much, and this is what happened. Marco, do you have to train your neck or other body training to drive the Formula car you drive? For the grip G1, yes, because the G forces are so high. You have 2.5 Gs in corners, so I'm talking about big G forces, that I do some training for the neck. Not as much as Formula 1 or Formula 2 drivers, but I train it a little bit. With the other cars, no. Lordi 2KK. Hey Alberto, I have a question about tires and the feeling. Do you really have any feeling for the limits of your tire, especially in front? Or do you just feel when your tires start to slip jump? How can I improve in corner entry braking, especially in sharp curves with hard braking and fast bike leaning carter steering? This is a big question for which there is not an answer. There is not something like, if you do that, you don't fall. It's all about sensibility, and to acquire that sensibility, you have to crash sometimes. Because most of the times, what happens is that you crash, and then you think, okay, what did I feel before crashing? And you understand that that's the limit. So it's simply trial and error. For example, in this case, I fell because I broke too hard while entering the corner. And I remember that what I felt is that just before falling, I felt the front doing boom, boom, boom. And then I realized that if you're braking too hard and you feel the front doing this, you're going to fall. So you have to immediately put the bike straight or release the brakes. And the other times that it happened, I was able to prevent it, but it's experience. Another question for Maxime Leninger. What's your physical preparation for races and you have a specific diet? I will make a video about that. Consider that I do not race a high level. I don't need a very specific preparation, but I train to be fit and in shape. Phil Ju, how long do you have been vlogging until you gain a following? I'm just starting my journey into motorsports and I'm vlogging the experience. I'm going to post a video called Draw My Life in the next days, where you will be able to see all my story. But basically, the first video that I did had 120,000 views. So it blew immediately. The reason behind the success of that video was that I've been doing video editing for 12 years, so I knew how to edit video. I studied communication, I studied P&L, I studied acting in the theater, and I was working as a cameraman in motorsports. And I posted it on Facebook during the years where it was really easy to go viral on Facebook. So if you put together all these things, these were the keys for my success. Then I moved to YouTube, people moved from Facebook to YouTube, and then that's it. Oliver Taylor, how tall are you? I'm really sorry for all the American people watching this video and to all the other countries which do not use the metric system. I'm Italian, I'm European, and I'm using the metric system, which is the system that the whole world should be supposed to use. Because I don't understand why some people use like 10 different units to measure the length. Here we have meters. In USA they have inches, feet, miles, yards, just to measure the length. Oh my god, why is it so complicated? By the way, I'm 1.84 meters. And I'm too tall for motorsport, really. Isaac, JY. Sometimes while braking hard into a corner, I can feel the rear wheel losing traction because of weight transfer and I downshift and starting to slide to the side. Yeah. I normally try to ease off the brake and reapply. I have pro racer doing this and backing it. How do I overcome this fear of getting a high side? That's a good question. So the normal answer is go step by step and take your time and get used to it and get confident. That's the best thing to achieve anything in life. But basically, when you brake, if you already have your butt on one side and then you brake and the bike starts to slide, it's easier for it to stay on one side because you already had the weight on one side of the bike. While if you stay on the middle, the bike starts to do this. So your body position helps you to achieve that. But it's all about practice. If you want to practice that, take small bikes like bit bikes or motard and train with those in small track where the speeds are lower. Banana Josh, what's so special about driving 2 wheels and 4 wheels? This is a deep question. I don't know if you ever did it on track, but for me it's the best feeling in the world. The emotions, the sensations that it gives you. I made a video where I interviewed the riders from the Italian Championship and I asked them, would you rather prefer a weekend with the best woman in the world, considering that she will do whatever you want, or one racing weekend with your motorbike? Everybody went for the motorbike. So this makes you understand why it's so amazing for the emotions that you feel. It's incredible. Fattest white guy ever. Okay, good name. How do you get rid of the fear of leaning the bike? Again, like for the sliding and the high side, with practice. The more you do it, the more you get confident with it, the more you crash and get up again, and the more you get rid of the fear. Mohammed Ridwan. Hi Naska, few things I want to clarify. Can you explain in that or in body positioning, like do we need to sit 1 fist away from the tank? Yes, I'm going to make a video about that soon. Also, can you explain vision when riding on the track? Yes, I'm going to make a video also about that. How to gain confidence to corner lower? Yeah, again, as I answered to the fattest white guy ever, the same. Do it. The more you do it, the more you get confident. And the best way to get confident to do something is to do it in a safe environment. If you want to get confident to lean, going at 200 km per hour on a highway, it's crazy. You will never get confident and you risk your life. Instead, if you take a small bike, you go to a small area and you start to ride in circles, you can get easily confident with that, and if you crash, nothing happens. With 5.5. Hi Alberto, what is the best way to improve your times when you're already pretty fast? Exactly as I did in the video where I compared my riding to Jonas Folger. You take the best ones, you take yourself, you compare, for example, your onboard videos, if you have them, and you try to identify where are the differences. So this is something that you can do yourself. Even with a YouTube video, you record an onboard of yourself on the same track and you compare them. Or you go to a school, or you have it, the best thing would be to analyze the telemetry. B. Rouget, maybe. Hey Naska, can you tell us what devices do you use to obtain telemetry on your track bike, please? I take the telemetry file from the data logger installed on the bike, and I use a software called Dashware. I linked it below. It's a software that allows you to put overlays of any kind on the video. And for instance, the motorbike dashboard that you see, also the car dashboard that I used in the TCR race, my designer designed them. So you can design your own, and I animated it. So this is it. This was the first Q&A for this international channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. I hope I've been able to provide you not only some useful tips and information about motorsports and riding, but also something more about my life and how I approach my job and my challenges that I find in life. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and be ready, because some amazing videos like the 24-hour race that I did 1 month ago are going to come out soon. Stay tuned.